Thanks for stopping by, everyone. My name is Jeff, and Canopy Growth just got another big upgrade. And of course, if you do not already know, there has been an exciting acquisition. We're going to cover that in just a minute, guys. And I also want you to hang around to the end of the video. Martha Stewart and Canopy Growth have made partners a couple of months ago, and they're working together to bring an exciting new product line. I kind of laughed, when I first seen these couple of videos and headlines, but I do want to share that with you. And I think it is absolutely awesome the way Canopy Growth is penetrating the markets and pushing forward for all this growth. Do me a favor, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video if you are enjoying it, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Let's get into this. So there's a lot of investors that believe you should not be investing in the marijuana market and that it is unsafe territory. I find it to be one of the highest growing sectors out there, if not the fastest growing, especially going back to December. And there's just so much opportunity sitting right here in front of us. If you do not own Canopy Growth and Aurora Cannabis, I would highly advise you to think about starting a position and building one. Okay, because you're not necessarily gonna nail these trades in one day, but you're gonna want these stocks for the long term. Jefferies recently upgraded CGC and raised its price target to the company to 77 Canadian dollars from 64. Now guys, this is based on Canopy Growth's acquisition of Acreage Holdings, and that will enable Canopy Growth to enter into the US, which has huge potential for cannabis companies. And of course, that is huge simply because the United States is still under so much regulation. But if Canopy Growth can strategically start working its way into the United States and kind of have their foot planted, I think that makes them the #1 global player. Then obviously and naturally, number 2 would be Aurora Cannabis. And that is actually my biggest position in the MJ sector. Now, I do own Canopy Growth, and I also have a large holding in MJ, but Aurora is my #1 MJ position. And Jefferies also raised its price target on ACB to 14 Canadian dollars from 12. And this is due to the company acquiring Whistler Medical. And so the consensus rating for Canopy Growth right now is a buy. Now guys, there was a period of time where it seemed like it was kind of stagnant, not trading up very much. It was staying around the low 40s to $42 range, and there was a lot of hold ratings kind of attached to CGC, and now they have a consensual price target of 75.9 Canadian dollars, and it was trading about 1% higher at $65.70. Now this news actually broke on April 18th, so it's about 2 weeks old. And of course, Canopy Growth did see a 9% gain in pre-market on the takeover of Acreage Holdings, okay? Acreage Holdings is under the ticker symbol ACRGF, and this deal was for $300 million in cash plus 0.5818 CGC common shares for each Acreage subordinate share, representing a total transaction value of $3.4 billion. So it's a huge, this is very, very large. This, for the size these marijuana companies are, and of course they've come so far so fast. But this kind of reminds me of when Google bought YouTube back in 2006. Someday this will be the tech play, in this case the MJ play, that will really put this company on the map and of course give CGC penetration into the United States. So Acreage owns or has service agreements in place for cannabis license in 20 different states, including 87 dispensaries and 22 cultivation and processing sites. So this gives CGC almost immediate control and leverage here in the United States. And this came at a very appropriate time for Canopy Growth. Like I said, over the past 3 months was starting to see a pretty noticeable decline, trading all the way down to the low 40s and even getting under the $40 level a couple of times. Then they started to see another move back up on the 15th of April, which ironically enough is the US tax deadline. And then of course on the 18th, seen that big move, traded itself back over $50 a share, and now has kind of settled itself at $49.08. And it took another 1% gain today. And I think just naturally your price target on Canopy Growth does have to go up a little bit. Now the fundamentalists still believe these MJ stocks are very, very overvalued, and the argument still remains there. but I'm very, very excited to see what Canopy Growth and Aurora Cannabis will do on earnings. But we have about a month and a half before Canopy will have their earnings report. Their estimated earnings is June 26, 2019. Now keep in mind, this date can fluctuate a little bit. I've noticed that about the MJ companies, but we will be tuned in and paying close attention when they report earnings, guys. Like I said, I'm really, really excited to see what kind of numbers Canopy puts out. And now I do briefly want to mention this. This story is actually a little bit dated, but it's kind of resurfacing ever since the acquisition of Acreage Holdings was announced. But Canopy and Martha Stewart are working together to develop CBD pet products. And so when I first see this story, I start laughing because I'm thinking, is the cat and the dog gonna be high, walking around, stumbling into stuff, eating too much cat food, drinking too much water, and maybe sleeping more? But I have to be a little bit more mature about that and see that it's actually gonna be used medicinally for animals, and how incredibly intelligent of an idea this is to use it not just for human beings, but for animals as well. So Canopy Growth is doing studies on the effectiveness in cannabinoids for pets, and that's really the role Martha Stewart is supposed to focus on, is the developing and marketing of animal-aimed products. On this next earnings report, I'm still expecting to see pretty good revenue numbers, but also a lot of loss still. And I'm anticipating CGC and Aurora Cannabis to both be running still relatively inefficient, okay? But I do also think from just a purely a revenue standpoint, Canopy Growth and Aurora are going to start pulling away from the pack and start making all the other companies look kind of ridiculous with this type of move, especially if they start to break in some level of effectiveness, not just for humans, but also for pets. I think that is going to make Canopy even more exciting of a stock pick than it already is. But alright guys, that's all I got for the video. Make sure to drop a comment. Tell me if you're a Canopy Growth shareholder. I'm really interested into what your thoughts are, not only on the Acreage Holdings acquisition, but where you think they will be trading at, and what are you expecting on this next earnings report. I'm really kind of excited to hear some of those comments. Thanks as always for watching the video, and have a great day.